Hey, what's up guys? Chris VA Travels. I'm down here in Chesterfield, just off the Appomattox River, and visiting Eppington, colonial mansion that was built back in 1768. Fine looking home, 2.5-story mansion, English basement. And yeah, a couple of really tall chimneys, nice metal roof on it, hipped roof. And you've got a medallion cornice. Again, this thing was built in 1768 by Francis Epps VI. Brother-in-law to Thomas Jefferson. And I'll let you know there were some upgrades in 1783. That's when those dormers were put on. 1790, these wings in the porch were added. To give you the timeline, after Francis died, the house was taken over by their daughter Lucy, who married a guy named Archibald Thweet. Yeah, and they lived here till around 1860. And then so through the Civil War, a guy named Henry Cox lived here. Lived here until 1867, then it was passed on to a northerner, surprise, a guy from Pennsylvania named William Hines. Hines lived here until the early 1900s when it was taken over by the Cherry family. And the Cherry family owned it all the way up until the 1980s. But I think I had heard that they only lived here through the 1960s. Oh, and we were looking at what was originally the back of the house. So the back was the front when it was built. Facing the Appomattox, which is a ways behind it. And the docent said the Appomattox is about a quarter mile behind the house. Also, when the house was first built, it was just called Windsor-Pock, and that's kind of the area of Chesterfield that we're in right now. As I said, Francis Epps and Thomas Jefferson were brother-in-laws. Their wives were sisters, both daughters of John Wales. And Thomas Jefferson, he visited several times. And he was here actually when he accepted the invitation by George Washington to become Secretary of State. As a matter of fact, when Martha Jefferson died, Thomas Jefferson's wife, 2 of their children were sent out here to be cared for by the Epps. They were accompanied by Sally Hemings. Anyway, daughter Lucy died of whooping cough and she's buried here. And the other daughter, Polly, ended up marrying the Epps' son. That would be John Wales. Oh, and then I'll tell you that John and Polly's son, who they named Francis, he ended up owning a poplar forest out there near Lynchburg. That's Thomas Jefferson's summer retreat, which I did a video on not too long ago. Okay, just wanted to take a look at the back of it. And a big add-on right there. And again, when it was originally built, this was the front. And they would have had terraces going down. These trees wouldn't have been here, so you would have had a nice view of the Appomattox. But, and of course, the rivers were the roadways at the time back then. Some big lobes on this oak right here. Oh yeah, I saw her earlier. Oh, there's a guy playing the fiddle on the porch. Cedar back here. But over here, this would be the chimney to the kitchen. And you see it's got a stone foundation. So stones back here. I don't know if there's going to be a hearth on the other side. But yeah, 2-story kitchen. It would have been one of those kind of duplexes where on the other half, they would have done the laundry and the sewing. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, you would have thought the hearth would have been a little bit bigger. But who knows, this could have been the side where they did the laundry. Okay, so we've got a millstone over here fenced up. And this millstone, it would have been similar to one that was used on the grist mill that Francis had down on the Appomattox. And these grist mills were kind of little businesses because local farmers would come to have their grain and whatnot processed at the mill. But pretty neat. I'm surprised they don't have a little walking path taking you down to the river. Obviously a stone foundation of something. Again, you would have had a ton of outbuildings all on this property. Could have been anything, I guess. Composite chimney right here. Stone foundation, and obviously newer brick right there. All right, so making some linen over here. I see flax comb right here. Pretty cool. Yeah, I'll show you the side of it. Got a bit of wind going on. Oh, no, also when Francis owned it, 124 enslaved worked here. So obviously you would have had several slave cabins. And I bet you there's a slave cemetery around here somewhere. Looks like there's a Union soldier up there giving a demonstration.
And you'd instantly start over again.
And yeah, this would have been a bustling area. You can picture it at the time. You would have had all kinds of outhouses. I know they had a carriage house, ice house, of course, smokehouse, slave quarters. Yeah, so this is a hopping place. And here's the cemetery. I don't see where you can go in. And they've kind of got them packed in here. It looks like that one is kind of sideways in front of the obelisk. But they've done ground penetrating radar, and they found actually bodies buried outside the fence, children. I would imagine one of these taller obelisks is Francis, but yeah, I'm not sure. We've got a pecan tree growing in here. Usually you have a cedar, but all right, let me see when the next house tour is. I heard it's pretty raw on the inside. We're currently on 376 acres, but when Francis owned it, 3,500 acres. Yeah, and there's a bunch of people in costume. But I'll let you know, the east wing on the left here, this was the dining room. And the west wing, that was Francis's study. So, all right, let me go on in. Yeah, this is saying 1765. But okay, there we are, Parker Cherry. Donated by.
So there you go.
Hop on the end of this tour, and then when you finish, I'll give you the tour on these two rooms over here.
Hey, thank you.
All right, I've got a few minutes wait before the tour starts. They actually have 2 tours going on the inside. But yeah, you see this magnolia, a little bit in bloom. Oh, that's Francis Epps right there.
I want you to enjoy my home. I know I enjoy it. Come on up.
We're in the main portion of the house, oldest portion of the house. This would have been the parlor used for entertaining guests. And you'll see original flooring. Small coal fireplace. It almost looks like soapstone. And coal mining was a thing here in Chesterfield way back when. You had the Clover Hill coal pits not far away. Oh, and wanted to show you this woodwork. Great wood paneling. It kind of reminds me of Carter's Grove. Maybe not that nice, but yeah, nice moldings above. Now in the east wing, 1790 add-on. And this became the larger dining room. You'll see there was a stove here at one time. Obviously, newer fireplace. And dentals going across. You had a pantry tucked back here. Alright, so you see the plaster on top of the brick. So obviously no insulation back then. And the cuts in the beams are actually to help with the adherence of the plaster. It says this is a declaration of allurance, so I guess it's meaning insurance. And it says it's to protect against fire. Statue of Francis holding some tobacco, talking to his brother-in-law Thomas, and they both shared an interest in agriculture. And Thomas Jefferson considered Francis one of the country's foremost horticulturalists. Some good old Virginia tobacco back here. And it looks like this would be Venezuelan old leaf tobacco. tobacco weighing basket. And they often used oyster shells and horsehair in the making of the plaster back then. Another tobacco-related item, plow right here. Big yoke up here, but a display of the Clover Hill Farm, big tobacco farm in Chesterfield here. As you see the main dwelling on the farm, and yeah, just a small one-story building. Big old cross-cutting saw on this display of early farming in Chesterfield. And it says made this thing from corn husks and horsehair. Mrs. Ann Myers with her mule, circa 1920. Chicken farm from the 1940s. And these ladies are at the Jank Farm here in Chesterfield. Photos from 1900. And this is from a watermelon festival. They started the archaeological work back in the 90s, dug over 170 test pits, and these are some of the items they found. Checking out the wood paneling, and another hidden storage compartment back here. And as you see, they're concentrating on preservation rather than restoration in the house here. Original dining room before the wings were added. We're still in the main portion of the house. And this room eventually became a parlor. Further down, we're now in the west wing, that add-on from 1790. That was originally Francis's study. And you'll see it's now a drawing room. You'll see what's left of this plaster wall, scratch coat. And a little bit of the wallpaper left up there. More wallpaper down there, and I don't even know what this is. And you'll see back here, they think this was his actual study chamber. And this would have been closed off to the rest of the house so the children and whoever else wouldn't bother Francis. And kind of a tight space, actually. Plaster on the lathe strips right here. Well, this thing's seen better days. But it's a close-up of the woodwork.
Today is Eppington Heritage Day. And yeah, this place is only open to the public once a year. So, pretty cool old accordion right there. Hand drum. Back here can do some axe throwing.
When you see 3 tomahawks flaming on fire, juggle.
Oh, wow.
So things you've never seen before.
Look at her. Yeah, we've got people in costume.
Net is the precursor to all laces. You'll see that we have, especially for tatting, but it's very simple in nature. We have a knot and a loop. So I'm going to insert my netting needle here. So what I'm doing here is inserting a gauge, Okay, I'm using a netting needle end, but usually it's a piece of wood. So what I'm doing is I'm getting gauge. So I've come up through my loop here. I am going to put my thumb here. I'm going to take my netting needle and come from the back side of that loop up over through this loop here. And it forms a nice loop here that's going to become the knot that holds the actual knot in place. And so you can see we have a series of knots now, and if I remove the netting,
Okay.
there's your next row of loops. And so we get to the end and we continue back through.
Yeah, Bill and Tammy were here from Berkeley Plantation. Gave me this cool trinket, B.H. Benjamin Harrison.
Two at Bethia United Methodist Church, and then I grew up at branches.
You say it's called bobbin lace?
Yes.
Okay.
These are bobbins, and so they're the implement to hold the thread. These are particular ones are English bobbins. They're because they have spangles on them, which are beads, to help weight the thread down. You can see how straight it is.
Yeah, I do. I have something I think I want to try. Okay. I think I'm gonna finish that.
Looks like an encampment over here. Let's see what's going on. I saw some soldiers earlier. They must be inside trying to stay warm. Hello.
This makes oils and waters for the apothecary. There would be a, say we're doing a water, this is lavender. I would put the lavender herb and the water in it, and then I would put the lid on it and put it near the fire, not in the fire. Then once this starts to boil, it will start to condensate up here and come down this channel into the spout, and then will come out to a vial, and you can use it immediately, or you can use it later on.
What would that be used for? Is it what I think?
It's called trepanning. It is for swelling of the brain.
That's what I thought.
Take out part of your skull.
Yeah. All right, so some armor on display right here.
Okay, how about take the edge off? Is that right?
Sliced it like a.
Yeah, I was trying to find something round, you know, and I was at Kroger, so forget that. So I just got multi-grain, it's beige. Yeah. This is
Flour, water, yeast, and salt. That's it.
what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
And a little bit of love. Takes me, literally takes me.
You guys know what this animal is, right? Raccoon, right? Would you like to feel? You can come on over. This is a real raccoon pelt.
My mom cooked a lot. She never baked from
I
scratch,
did.
but my dad, there's one exception, my
Now,
dad
do you
used to
know the word that you
Parker
use
House
for this
meal.
animal?
on
Raccoon,
Sundays.
right?
We have them out in the morning
Actually
sitting out in
comes
the garage.
from the Powhatan language.
Swell.
Raccoon. You'd actually usually have a rat, like, he's actually a marsupial. A possum. Also, see, we also got lots of food for the cows. Everything, of course, not food, but antlers.
Quite a feast right there.
And so that's what is happening here. What they will do is your white shirts to make them brighter white.
Okay.
They'll add bluing to the water. Rinse them, soak them, and then put them out in the sun. And what they'll do with the chloroform from the grass and the sunlight creates a chemical process that brightens it even more white.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't guess that. Okay.
And so that's what I've got staged here, is that process of bluing. It's pretty neat, huh?
Yeah.
They
Interesting.
come in
Okay.
small blocks today, but then back then they would have been bigger blocks, and you'd only use a small amount at a time. because you don't need that much, because this powder, it goes pretty fast, pretty quick.
Right, yeah, can imagine.
Yeah, so what you're doing for your laundry process is you're spot cleaning with your soap with some nice hot water. You got to keep changing your water out constantly for this too. That's why this takes so long.
Right.
And then you'll rinse it, get it clean. Then you'll do your bluing process, and then as you can see, I've got some shirts stretched out that you'll stretch them out in the sun to dry. Squirrel. And no barley.
Right.
Barley stew is comprised of barley, turnips, carrots, onions, beef, and ham. I'm typically tomato, but I took the tomato out for the day.
We've got some Civil War soldiers back here.
War of attrition started with Petersburg. It's a lot of foreign military dignitaries would come over during the war to watch what both sides were doing.
Is this a particular type of trench, or?
So this is going to be called your fire pit. Rifle pit. Or rifle pit. Yeah. Rifle pit, fire pit. So this is going to be your first line of defense, and then you're going to have your back part. So this is where your guys are going to be trenched out, be like, hey, start engaging. So your pickets, they'll start engaging, and then one will run back, let the infantry know, hey, we got Confederates right in front of us, and then the infantry will come up to help support and push or slow down that Confederate attack.
You'd be down, in a deep, you'd have a pit like this real shallow if you didn't have a lot of time to set up before like an engagement. But yeah, everything would be done over the top like this while you're down in the ground. So when you're reloading a rifle this long, you have to have enough room to where you can get to it and try and stay down out of the line of fire. Trying to manage all that at the same time of also making sure that you have reinforcements coming to back up your position, because this will be very quickly overrun.
All right, let's see what this guy's up to. And to the left, looks like we've got a Civil War hospital.
That's the point where it's like, all right, I will put you on a train and you will go off, especially when you're dealing with items like this, right? This is the basis for our modern hacksaw. It's hard to cut through the femur.
I asked Christina to portray her because this is her original picture.
Yeah. That's why it needs this.
Yes, you certainly can.
First person leaned on it. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
That's it for Eppington, and pretty fun today. This is a pretty neat event. Make sure to mark it on your calendar for next year. Yeah, sadly, it's only open once a year, like I say, but yeah, I'm gonna hit the road as always. Like and subscribe. See you on the next one.